quick painting. This painting was underpainted. You might have seen that. And if you haven't, it'll be up on the YouTube channel soon. So let's so we've got an underpainting. Let's talk about this. We got a, what is this? 11 by 14. It's got 2 coats of gesso on it. Then we put the sketch on. We sprayed a fixative over the top of that to hold the sketch in place while we did the underpainting. So then we covered all of this in burnt umber, and then we took paint back off until we got it to where we wanted it to be. So now we're going to put the first color layers on. So we'll start off by oiling down the canvas. And getting the canvas ready to go. It's nice and slick. Not too slick though. It'll be too slick when we start off. We'll take some off. So let's go ahead and start off. So this is just some linseed oil. Sort of like liquid clear. It's a little more lean than liquid clear. Especially since it's got mineral spirits in it. So we're just gonna oil this onto the canvas. Then we're going to wipe a bunch of it back off. This is your first time. We hope you being with us. We hope you will like and subscribe to the channel. We're not a Patreon channel. We're just somebody who likes to paint and share what we know. So, all right, let's clean this brush, and then we're going to take some of this liquid clear back off. Hey, Anthony. Hey, Chrissy. Hey, Madonna. Did I see Emily out there, too? I thought I did. I don't know if I did or not. All right. Anthony, thank you very much for giving me that banner. It worked out perfectly. First time. All right. So now we wipe most of this back. Now, let's think about this sky. Start off, we're going to paint the sky first, and then this dyke is going to be standing on a hillside with his feet in the snow. We'll put some trees in here, some distance trees and some close trees, but let's get some Payne's Gray. I think we'll make this kind of a wintry sky. So I'm going to, let's start off with the midtone. Let's take some Payne's Gray. That might be enough. You don't need a lot of paint in this method. So let's just take some Payne's Gray. And we're going to need some titanium white. Unless you're a Bob Ross fan, then it's white. Hey, Emmy. How are you, kiddo? Em's got a headache today, so y'all be nice to her. All right, I finally finished that tube. All right, so we're going to take some of this Payne's Gray, and let's make a mid-tone to that. So we're going to take some of this white. This white's really thick, too. This white's been in that tube for a little while, so we're going to kind of mix up the mid-tone here. It's kind of a medium gray. I think I need a little bit more white than that. That looks better. I'll show you this in a second. I didn't bother to clean my palette off because I just don't think I'm going to need that many colors from what I was using yesterday. Alright, so let's spread this Payne's Gray out. And then we're going to take this midtone, and we're going to take it, and we're going to make a lighter, even lighter Payne's Gray. And I think I'll add a little bit of bismuth yellow to that. To light it up. All right. So, let me show you the palette here. So, we've got the dark Payne's Gray, we've got the mid-tone Payne's Gray, and the light Payne's Gray. So we're going to be working with that mostly and just doing the sky. And we're not as we put this on, we're going to I've got a horizon line marked like right about there, so where the snow is going to be. we'll raise some trees up behind that, but we're going to do the sky first. We'll paint over those antlers. We don't care too much about that at the moment because we can take that. We're going to take that back off. Take some of that back off. So let's start off with a darker color. And we'll be kind of loose with this color. And of course, the brown that we put on, the burnt umber that we put on, is going to be helpful with that as well. If you guys have any questions, let me know. It was. It was. I was like, wow, I really could have used that as a reference photo. If I'd had it beforehand, I'd asked her if I could have. I'm just kind of lightly rubbing this in. I'm just kind of randomly mixing these colors in. I'm going to let some of that burnt umber show through as well. So I have half a dozen of these that are ready to have color layers put on, so we'll probably do a little more of that today. I may do it in subsequent videos, but I'm just kind of blending this as I go. It's just as easy to do it that way at this moment. But we're gonna blend it some more in a little while. Yeah, it'd be fun to make that bell painting. You know, after I do one, I might want to do another one. That would be a nice reference photo. Maybe Madonna should do it. So we're going to go right over these antlers because we're going to use some of that. We're going to use Q-tips to take that back off the antlers themselves when we get around to that part. But it'll keep us from having a halo around the sketch. If you try to paint around them, you're going to end up getting an area where there's no paint around there, and it's going to be, you know, not good. This nice wintry looking sky is going to show off really well with the snow. I think, I hope. We'll find out, won't we? We're just kind of using like this X stroke to kind of lay these colors down with a little bit of a wavy stroke as well. All right. We're going to go back and blend all of this momentarily. I'm going to want some of this color right in here along the horizon because I'm going to play the trees off against that contrast. All right. Okay. Brush strokes don't matter too much at this point. I think I want a little bit more dark though, like. In here. There we go. All right, let's clean that brush. I know, it looks like I got a mess now, don't it? Yeah. Maybe. So I thought since we're all kind of closed up in the house, it'd be nice to put something up for people to look at if they want to. Chrissy, my subscribers went up a little bit yesterday, so thank you for referencing some people over. I'm sure you're asking people to come in was helpful. All right. Okay, now let's clean that fan brush off. And then we're going to go back. Now we're going to start taking some of this paint back off, and then we'll start putting the trees in after that. Then again, maybe we could. I'll tell you what. Let's go ahead and put the trees in first, and then we'll start working on that. Because otherwise, I'm just going to end up putting the trees in, and then I'm going to end up. This is the wrong color though. Where's the other two? Ooh, we get to open a brand new tube of titanium white. Although, you know what? I got some right up there already. I put myself up to open a new tube, so I'll open it anyway. All right. So I got those 3 underpaintings done yesterday. And that was a nice, productive day. All right, we're gonna need some. Let's try some. Mix a little bit of ivory black, a little bit of titanium white, because I want to create a background color for these trees. Yeah. So we're going to do kind of the same thing. Let me show you. Bring this palette back over here. So as you can see, I got a nice messy palette. So we've mixed this gray. Now you might be able to see this gray is not nearly as blue as the Payne's gray. It's a really kind of a flattish, more flat gray than normal. So I'm going to take a little bit of that and kind of make a little bit of a lighter color, a little bit more gray. And then we're going to take that color, probably need a little bit more than that. We add a little bit more white to that. Make an even lighter whitish gray. So we've got all right. So now we've got 3 tones of gray that we can use in putting in these trees. And let's just use a fan brush to do that. I don't want to start with the lightest ones. I want to start with the darkest ones. So I'm going to load up this brush. Probably could use a smaller fan brush, but this will be okay, I guess. Probably just needed to mix more paint if I was going to do that this way, but it's okay. Let's put a few of these in here and there. And let's put another couple ones in here. Make one a little taller. Da, 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 da. Let's toss these trees right in. All right, one more. Let's put these two kind of close together. Then I'll put one in between them, or maybe on top of one of them. We'll see. All right. Okay. I'm just going to wipe the brush out. I'm not going to clean it. I'm just going to wipe it out. We're going to go to this mid-tone gray. And this is a little slicker than, because I just put that new titanium white in there, so. As you can see, immediately it's going to start to pull these trees forward. I think I'll put another one like right here. So it's going to show up over the top of that one a little bit. All right. You guys have any questions about these trees? I don't know if animals are fun to paint or not. This is my first one to paint ever. Emily will tell you, she couldn't believe I was actually going to paint an animal, because I really don't paint animals. I don't. But I guess I can't say that anymore now. Em paints a lot of animals. She's like the master animal painter. She really. But she paints foxes and squirrels and the fattest raccoons you've ever seen. I tease her about her chubby raccoons. She's got the cutest raccoons, though, you've ever seen. If you haven't seen them, you gotta check them out. And butterflies. Those aren't animals, but... And spiders. I forgot spiders. Alright, now we're just going to wipe the brush out again. We're going to go to the lightest color. Hopefully this will be light enough. Alright. I'm going to make these trees a little bit taller. And I think we're going to make them also a little bit... I don't want to make them too white, because there's going to be snow here in the foreground. Let's put one more let's put one. I don't really want to take away from the stag, so we're just going to make a tree a little bit larger, a little bit taller. Not as tall. It's going to make it all the way through his antlers, but I don't think I will. I don't think I'll do that. Thought about that in the sketch, and then I decided against it, so we'll put a couple of bushes and stuff in here. Put some out here. Put some out here. Just some stuff. Alright, so that should do pretty well. I guess we're going to have to do the stag. We'll do the stag last, because now that I want to put the snow in here, and we have to paint the foreground to get that in where I want to go. So we'll just kind of have some of this color on the knife, so we'll kind of use some of that to start with. We'll spread it out in a second. I need to brush, so lay down there. It's just kind of no sense in letting this grayish paint go to waste. Now then, let's just use this brush. You could use a 1-inch brush to do this if you wanted to. Let's kind of get this snow kind of shaped in here. And don't worry about the stag. We'll take care of him shortly. I picked up a little bit of red there. There we go. Let's just blend it out. So you can see we're kind of being pretty loose with this, which is fine. Letting that burnt umber kind of show through there. Make what shadows we have. All right. Now we get to the taking off phase. So let's just clean the fan brush. And we'll bring our stag back out of the woods. Bring him back out of the woods. So we're just going to use Q-tips to do this. No, that wasn't what I wanted to do. I wanted to be standing in the snow. I want to be like, this is deep snow. Deep, deep, deep snow. That's a good question. I didn't even think about it because I just wanted to be standing in the snow. I don't see why the legs would be any more difficult. Although I do know that I guess I do have painted animals because I painted those tigers. I forgot about them. The tigers gave me some trouble with their paws. That's kind of weird because this color's so light. When you wipe it off on the Q-tip, you can't even tell when the Q-tip's getting full. So we're just taking some of this back off. Some of it we'll leave on. Don't have to take it all off, but that's a good question, though. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you've done more than those than me. I mean, would there be? Is there something about the legs that are more difficult? Like on the tigers, it's getting all their toes, and cats can turn their toes and stuff so many different ways. That. That it was a little bit of a problem painting their toes. So I know at least one of those paintings, I just covered it with grass. It was easier to just have some grass standing in front of their toes and cutting those details out. With this particular underpainting, I almost could have just left this as an underpainting. It would have been just fine, probably. Because the stag's mostly brown. Anyway, different shades of brown. Let's turn this around so I don't have to use my arm up so high. The shoulder's still going to give me trouble for a while. I don't care too much about wiping all this paint off because I'm just going to turn right around and put paint back over it, but I do want to it'll be easier to put it down with this paint lifted off. This is a really simple way to do it, so. I'll need another batch of Q-tips next week though, after doing all those underpaintings yesterday and now these. Now, if you saw me paint the apples that I painted, the red and green apples, I didn't, there wasn't enough really in that still life caused me to have to come back and erase over the underpainting a second time. But, you know, just depends what you're painting. And, you know, you can take the time to bring the sky in, you know, pretty smooth around the edges of these antlers. It just takes a lot more time to do it that way. All right, let's get almost there, guys. We'll go back to the other side of the brush here shortly. So now you might be able to see what I was saying about you can almost leave this buck the way he is, but we're not going to. We'll work on him a little bit more here. All right. Let's pick up any little extra paint. You don't have to do this with Q-tips. You can do it with a paper towel. Hello from Israel. You have grass? Oh, well, okay. Do I have a painting that I could do today that has grass in it? I'll tell you what though, when we get this done, we'll finish this. We'll talk about some grass, because that's a pretty easy thing to do. And I can show you different kinds of grass that we can do. We'll do that, Chrissy. All right. Now we've wiped off quite a bit of the medium in this on the elk itself. So we'll use a very, very light touch of medium. Let's get some. Let's see. We'll need some white. We got that down. Let's get the sienna. Let's get a little bit of sienna in here. A little bit of sienna, maybe. All right, let's start off with the. So we're gonna make a. Let's see what we want to do here. We're gonna make a mid-tone of the sienna. So let's do that first. Where'd my knife go? Here it is. So take some sienna, just like we did before. I think we'll try adding rather than adding some white to that. We'll just add some orange to that. And then maybe a little. Hey, Nikki.
Hello.
My daughter's here. I'm streaming my second live to YouTube. Alright. I'll just paint off the knife here for a second. Alright, so you want to touch this really light as you're putting this in, so and I should add a little bit of medium to this probably. Just a touch, just a touch. Alright, let's try this color. Yep, that's pretty good. So now we're taking advantage of all this underwork that we've done. So we'll put all that on first. Be careful not to apply this so much that you cover up all your underpainting where you can see the shadows, because you want to keep those in there as well. Let's go. A little shade darker. got into some white. No problem. No problem, no problem. We'll just blend it out. Alright, now I'll start putting this dark stuff in here. So now, if you're working with this brown and you want to go something that's darker for whatever reason, then rather than adding black to it, you can add blue. Blue would work pretty nicely. Or you could put or you could use purple. Purple would also work pretty nicely. We're just kind of following these shadows that we established in the underpainting. Mostly letting that show through. I'm gonna have to turn this around to work on that rack though. Yeah, this leg is a little wider. God darn it, I got in the white again. Put that white a little too close to that brown. And I'm kind of dragging my brush into it. All right. All right, now we're going to blend some of this before we move up to his coat. There you go, big fella. All right. We'll come back and finish that last few facial features up in a second. Let's go with, I think I'm going to move from this brush to my angle brush. It'll be easier for me. All I gotta do is find it. I don't know if you can have too many brushes, but this is one of them. Where's the other one? Because I might need two before I'm done. I can use this one. I'll use this straight brush. Let's try the straight brush first. This So if you saw yesterday, we were using straight brush to cut these tight angles. We'll do kind of the same thing here. So we're sticking with the straight brush here. I used to hunt a lot, but I think I would really have not want to shoot this elk if I saw him. He's too pretty. He's way too pretty. Now I tell you, if Emily had this in her backyard, I said I was going to name this painting the elk that Jeremy was not allowed to shoot in Emily's backyard, because she's got all these deer in her backyard. I think Jeremy had signs he wanted to get him a deer for deer season, but he ain't gonna get it at his house. That's the rumor. All right, let's see. We got this antler right here. We need to work on a little bit, just a little bit. It needs to be a little darker than that, I think. Alright, I'm going to save that for the highlight now. Let me just wipe that paint out. Come back and pick up this darker color now. So what I did was put another color, the mid-tone down, and then I kind of allowed it to sit there for a second, let the oil kind of soak to the canvas a little bit. And then I can paint back over it again. That's a hard stroke for me right there. That's good. All right, let's see. We'll add a little more curve to that when I think I'll just do it with a cube. My shoulder's in the way. I know, doesn't that suck when you kind of do that? You kind of get in the way like that. All right. I want this to come down like this. And the other side. Oh, let's see what's. little too far right there with that color. All right. We're just adding the highlights right here. Some of the highlights. Using the same gray we started the sky with, basically. A little difference, not much. Might need to use a script liner with that. Let's see, can we get... Let me see if I can sharpen this. Let me see if I can sharpen this angle brush enough to make that turn. No, it's too much paint. All right. All right, buddy, you're getting there. Now I want this shadow right under his chin to be darker. So, darker than that. So we're just going to kind of see if we can't play a little bit of... it's going to be hard to get it to stick. Now what's this? So I'm taking the brush away. I'm just taking and cleaning paint out of the brush itself. Now I got a little bit of a touch up right there in that one spot. Hopefully we can do this without too much trouble. There we go. That worked out pretty good. All right, let's see. Let me check this. Push me out of the way. Yeah, I'm out of the way now. You can look. Take a look. Take a look. All right. We want to have... Mix a little more highlight here in this one. That shoulder. We want a little bit of highlight on this shoulder. And then let's work on these. Let's finish these antlers up, and then we'll come back and finish up this guy standing here. Alright, so we're going to mix another really light tone for these antlers. We don't want to be white because that'd be too bright. Let's try this color. This looks pretty good. So I'm just kind of mixing this on the brush as I go. we're trying to add a little bit of texture to this as we go as well. So I'm not going to try to smooth all the brush marks out. Kind of want those brush marks to stay in there. So a little bit of sienna, a little bit of sienna. We may come back and add a little bit of this color to the inside of his ear as well. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. All right. That tan seems to be looking pretty good. There we go. I didn't quite get the texture on the first draw of that brush that I wanted to see. All right. We're not exactly done with the snow either. We're going to do a little bit more with the snow right there by his feet. Here you go, buddy. Let's try this color. I don't think I want it on the, I only want it on the top. Like that. All right. Let's add some of this darker color. Underneath here. All right. Muscle him up a little bit. All right. Now, down here in the snow, we're going to come back with, I think, like all along in this area here, we're going to need the snow to be shadowed. This paint's quite thick, so we'll have to blend that through in a minute. Let's blend that and see how it looks. Go back to this really soft brush. I think back here, I'm going to extend his leg, his rear leg, like that. something a little darker than that, though. Like, that, make it look better that way. Yeah, like that. All right, let's clean this off. Let's finish up this snow. So let's pick up and let's be done with this. All right. So I'm gonna move. Oh, might help if I don't throw my brush on the floor. Let's see. Let's get this band brush for a second. Now, I want to put right here, I don't want to put that. I'll put that red on there. It still has some titanium white right across the front of his feet. So, all right, let's add a few little things in the front here, make it a little more interesting. So we're going to take a script liner and some medium, and let's add some white to that so it's not quite so crazy dark. All right. Just a little more medium. A little more color. Not too much on this. Just a couple branches. It's a good time to have a nice, good, wiggly hand. All right. So I think that'll do for that. Let's add a little bit of, I don't know if I'll need, let's see. Yeah, it's not going to show up too well. That's okay, it'll show up enough. Good enough. Good enough. All right. Let me back up and take a look real quick. All right, guys. Yeah, I'm happy enough with it. What do y'all think? Oh, thank you, Chrissy. Hey, Bruce. Hey, thanks everybody for tuning in. This is one I've been wanting to get done, so I was glad to get it. I might do another one here in a little bit. It's only 4 o'clock, and if I got something else that I think is ready to go, I might do that. So, if not, I'll be back tomorrow. Hope you guys are all doing really well, and we'll see you on the next one.